Hawaii Entertainment News, where we will talk about all the news that's happening around the film and entertainment industry in Hawaii.
You're supposed to say, I told you so.
Enough. Are you okay?
Oh my gosh, he's Superman!
This is a video, which means we all have special skills.
Aloha everyone, I'm Justine McClellan on Hawaii Entertainment News. Anything in business is about relationships. If you're going to do a video, if you're going to write, you have to speak, you have to give a story, and it has to come from you, the authenticity. So in order to be your authentic self, you cannot go by what other people say. They're not you. You're your own, like every snowflake, your fingerprints. You're so individual. The ironic thing is that we're all the same though. We all have the same feelings and everything. When people give you an opinion or you perceive that they're criticizing you just from your own insecurity, you gotta let it go. And you have to relax in knowing that if it feels right inside, you need to do it. And I was telling, our producer there, our director, that you cannot strive for perfection because you're trying to be perfect to somebody else's standard. The most best influential people in social media today are authentic. They're not afraid to goof up. They're not trying to be polished because people think they got to be that way. That stops a lot of people. When you see people on a newscast, they're trained to be that way. They have to tell the news. They have to be accurate. But if you're going to be an influencer, what people love the most is that they see you as yourself. If you make a mistake, like, oh my God, I made a mistake, they can relate. When you tell your personal story, they're like, oh my God, I did the same, but I look at you and you look like you got it all together. Oh, no. This is years of practice. And when I was trying to do marketing videos, I took my daughter's iPad and I practiced just for a 30-second marketing video, sweating and worrying and everything and remembering my lines. I wrote my own script. But it takes time, it takes wisdom, it takes being knocked around. One of the things I remember that Alex O'Loughlin said at the inaugural in 2010, he says, don't care what anybody thinks. It's none of their business. And that's what carried him. You have to have that confidence to realize, because I always cared what other people thought. I always wanted to make sure I didn't hurt other people's feelings. And as you get older, you find out that it's working against you. What they find in marketing. Okay, we're gonna go fast forward into marketing. Successful marketing, like I said, the authenticity. When you brand, you are your brand, right? You can learn from other people, successful people, but you have to brand yourself into your product, into your service. You have to care more about people. When you put your content out there, you don't talk about yourself. It's like, I do this, I do that. This is what my products are. No, you figure out the pain point. You give the solution in a way that they understand it. Like, you go straight to the pain point. Then you put all the benefits that your service and product does. You don't talk about yourself. Like in the traditional way, I have a master's. I don't have any, I just, but most people talk about themselves. I have this experience. That's all well and good, but people don't care what you do. They want to know how they benefit, what's in it for me. If I'm going to give you my hard-earned money, what is it in for me? Will it make me feel better? Will it improve my life? Will it, whatever it is, right? So you get that little pain point because this is the attention grabber, and then you tell them how you can solve that pain point that they can relate to. not some regurgitated, we have 20 years experience. Oh, yeah, right. Okay, I don't do 20 years. I've been around for 20 years. So what, right? What is in it for me? That's pretty much in a nutshell. Now, everything else, as far as technology goes, we know it keeps changing, so we can't really predict. But then we see a lot of documentaries on Netflix or what have you to tell you what's going on in the world as far as technology and where it's going. AI, artificial intelligence, how is that going to affect you and all that stuff. But the very principles are the same. Relationship, relationship, relationship. And number 2, your list is gold. You need to build a list. You need to grab those emails. And you have to do it in an automatic way that you can follow up with your clients on an automated thing. And then you put your personal message in there. So it's a formula, And when you translate this into marketing, like I said, marketing it's all about relationship. You have to reflect it in your content that you write, the videos that you make. When you meet a person, I still admit that I have really hard time with names, but I remember the person. I remember something about them. Maybe later on I'll research about them. So when I talk to them again, oh, what about that thing that you did? Wow, their light turns on. Somebody actually cared. They actually looked me up, and care about the work that I do. Or I ask questions about what they've done. And then now they want to share more with me. And then I learn more. We learn from each other.
Aloha, and welcome to Hawaii Entertainment News. This is TK. Putting on a show during a pandemic looks very different from normal operations. The pandemic has accelerated Hawaii Opera Theater's transition to present opera in different ways and spaces. They currently have a virtual concert hall filled with a season of 5 operas and other online content. The Honolulu Theater for Youth also shifted into a virtual medium. It launched a series of 30-minute video versions of theater performances called The High Way. The Hilo Palace Theater has also gone virtual with their series called Live from the Empty Palace. Congratulations to the University of Hawaii at Manoa's Theater, Dance, and Associate Professor of Theater, Mark Branner, on receiving the Regent's Medal for Excellence in Teaching this year. Strowlers is a new local independent urban fantasy series where magic is for everyone, not just Hollywood protagonists, and where you can tell your stories. The first 3 episodes are now on Amazon Prime and the Fantasy Network. Naili Aspen from Hilo got a huge feature in a new music video with pop star Katy Perry. She played a younger Perry in the song created to celebrate the 25th anniversary of Pokémon. The 15-year-old Waikea High School student spent 2 days filming the music video on Oahu. Kaipiha, a documentary on Hawaiian fish ponds, debuts on PBS Hawaii. Mahalo to all of the local crew and fish pond workers that have brought out the histories and meaning relayed in the film by cultural practitioners, kupuna, educators, and volunteers. The first annual World Fire Knife Competition, Lekoa Ailau, will stream live on Saturday, June 12th. This is the first ever fire knife competition to ever be held in Kailua Kona, so you won't want to miss it. Local short film, Kaleva, has just gotten a distribution deal. Congratulations to our very own Mitchell Viernes. Tickets are on sale for Diamond Head Theater's Forever Plaid. The show opens on May 28th. Kailua Onstage Arts presents Christopher Durang's Laughing Wild, directed by Miles Phillips, May 22nd through May 30th. Jungle Cruise is coming to Disney+. Starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and filmed here in Hawaii, this has been a long-awaited film for all of us to see. Paradise City is currently in production on the island of Maui, starring Bruce Willis and John Travolta. Willis plays renegade bounty hunter Ryan Swan, who must carve his way through the Hawaiian crime world to wreak vengeance on the kingpin, played by Travolta, who murdered his father. The project is billed as being similar to Miami Vice, but with bounty hunters instead of cops. This is TK reporting for Hawaii Entertainment News.
I'm Justine McClellan, your host of Hawaii Leads. Join me as I talk story with Hawaii's leaders, entrepreneurs, affluent, dominators, and skilled.
You'll be inspired by their stories of humble beginnings, challenges, and setbacks, and how they arrived at the success they have today, as well as what they plan for the future. Take notes as they share tips and advice and encouragement that will help you on your journey to your dreams and goals. That's Hawaii Leads on Hawaiian Telcom's Channel 808, local content.
Up in the sky, look!
It's a bird!
It's a plane!
It's the gaffer. Everybody knows who has the real power on film sets. Thousands and thousands of watts of power. It's the gaffer. The gaffer, Best Boy Electric, and electricians work with the cinematographer to design the lighting.
Now, Miss Lane, get ready for the greatest story of your career.
The electrical department is responsible for getting light, but also power to the set. A lot of power, and that could be deadly if not handled safely. But who's responsible for safety on a set? That's easy. You are. So believe me when I tell you, when an electrician tells you to do something on set, do it. It's for your safety and for everyone else's.
And another thing with marketing, because I relate it to it, is that when it comes to marketing and you want your message to go out there, it's just a matter of numbers. It's a numbers game, because marketing and sales go hand in hand. It's a numbers game. So you just repeat that message, and of course you got to identify your target market, and it falls upon the right ears. But it's a numbers game, and people think, okay, I got this great idea, I got this film, I got this, everybody's gonna want to know. Blah, blah, blah. You have to go out there and grind and just talk to people and just show your passion, and then they gravitate to that passion. And the ones who don't, it's a numbers game. Okay, so what I learned is that through marketing, I did the old way through the newspapers, and so we were selling land. And I got to figure out what part of the nations wanted our land in Arizona. It was just a hit or miss. Pure numbers. When we identified the states that wanted our property, we focused in on it. And even that's a numbers game. So out of 100, if you get 0.01% back in the day, hallelujah, you hit the jackpot. But with the social media and all the technology, you have a lot more numbers to go through. That means your success can be higher. Who's your target audience? Right? A lot of people think everybody's going to want my thing. No, you have to identify who your market is. Yes. With your show, who's your target market? It's the people who want to be in the film industry, whether it's behind the camera, in front of the camera, or both. Do they want to be a part of writing the story? Do they want to be the actor? They don't want to be heard or anything, but they want to be involved. Yes. Right? So what I saw the opportunity when you're talking to me about is that agencies are great. I've been with ADR since 1987. They've done me a lot of good castings, from all those things I told you about. Your photos there. Maybe now they have a reel, because now you got to do your thing from home. You got to learn how to video yourself. But there is that thing when, if there's a character written, if you fit that character, you got to know more about that person. If you can take this show and put it out there that this is the person, this is their character. If I wrote a story, if I wrote a film, anything, and that's your life, oh my God, it's going to be so sweet, because you're already that character. Just change the name, put a little bit of words in there, and it'll be so authentic, and that's what people love. I think bad acting comes when you don't relate to the character. You're trying to force the whole thing. And I've been to a lot of acting classes, and if that character is not you, of course, acting, you have to portray that character. But I've heard a lot of stories where casting or the director, producer said, we're looking for somebody. Oh, that person. They don't need to see anybody else, because that person has that personality. They have that charisma, or they have that whatever it is. Perfect. There's no casting, because that role was made for that person. And if people could just understand that they're not being rejected because of their talent. There's lots of talented people out there. They're not being rejected. It's just that you don't fit the character they're looking for. And when you put your true, authentic self in that character, how beautiful is that? If you were to take an aspiring actor and sit here and just tell them their life story, what their beliefs are, how they think, and everything, if a character is written and they have the same kind of parallel beliefs, whatever, it doesn't have to be exact, then you know it's going to be a sweet communion. Like it's going to be matching each other. So when you put a guest sitting here and they're an aspiring actor or they have already acted, but then there's a role out there somewhere, some script writer is writing this character, and then if they were to see that person, dang, that's the one. That's the one I've been writing about. Look at how she grew up or he grew up. Look at the experience he had. Maybe we needed military. Oh, look at Mark McClellan. He was in the military. Boom, Wind Talkers, give him a line. He was there only as a background. He ended up with a line. But I would say that the important part of branding is reflective of who you are. Now you find an expert who can take that, put it into your logo, put it into, like when you open your show, in your intro, outro, is it fitting to what you are or what the show is all about, and make it fit. So that's the number one thing about branding. Is it reflective of you? And if you notice, a lot of brands, they integrate names like of a loved one or something. It's them. They make it them, you know. That's another skill too. All of that takes a lot of practice. So when I decided to do my podcast show, and there's a reason I did it, the first one was called Legal Advice in Paradise. And I went through a 4-year legal battle. And I felt if I knew how to pick an attorney, I'd probably win. I picked the wrong attorney for the wrong case all the way around. I learned this later. What I learned is that relationships are key. And part of relationship is learning how to listen. You know, and you can listen. This person is speaking from what their perspective is. Take whatever you can, whatever you don't feel doesn't resonate. You know, they mean well, or they're just jealous, or they're insecure. Let them go. And then you feel the feelings. You feel being pissed off. You feel being hurt. You feel all of this. Then you step back, you release it, and say, this person didn't walk in my shoes. They don't understand what I went through. So how can they know? Let them talk. Just like Alex said, it's none of their business. And if people knew more of that, and to just listen to their gut feeling and not be a follower. I mean, there's certain things you can have a mentor who has experience, people who know how to edit videos, people who know how to shoot videos. You can learn a lot of things from them. But for your own intuition, for your own self, that's on you. You can learn skills. But again, your authenticity is yours and you have to own it. Somebody tried to discourage me of telling my story, and this was a doctor's assistant, my homeopathic nurse. And I said, I'm thinking of writing a book about my life story. That's been done by so many people. Well, guess what? How many billions of people on this earth, not everybody has heard a story that will relate to them. You need to tell your story, because then people will say, oh my God, if that person could go through that, so can I. What did you do? And then that person starts to evolve and become more confident. That person then can help somebody else, because we're all brand new to this life when we come up. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you heard someone else's story at a given time that somebody else heard. Oh, it's regurgitated. Yeah, okay, yeah. So your parents got divorced and your parents abandoned you and blah, 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 blah. Don't make light of it, because someday it'll fall upon the ears that they need to hear it. And unfortunately, the generation I grew up in the 60s, 70s, there was no internet. There was no social media. You just had to rough it. The light for me is when Oprah Winfrey created her show. And she started bringing out all the skeletons of the closet, all the dysfunction. And I'm like, oh my God,
I'm not the only
how come nobody else said this? I thought I was going on this my own. You know, she'll bring out the sexual abuse. She'll bring out the the dysfunction in families, that there's no such thing as a perfect family. She brought all that to the front, and that started the trend of reality. Now it's gone sometimes to craziness, but she brought it out there that you are not alone. You are not. And then there's some people who never watched Oprah or didn't like her or whatever, so they need to hear the message somehow other way, and that might be you. And the thing is, and there's one thing that that holds a lot of people back, and I've done it too, is setting expectations on other people. Like you telling a story and they don't get it, that's your expectation that they need to get it. But you gotta release that, because you know what happens is that your energy will put a stop. It'll be a resistance to them. But if you're telling your story and they don't quite get it, you just relax in it, and then they'll relax too. And when you relax, that's when the ideas come. That's why I learned, if you're under stress, relax, go to sleep. Just go to sleep and reset the whole energy. Come back in a better energy, and that you can get good energy come back. And when it's like they say, hindsight is 20/20, and you think that person did me a favor. Yes. Like I was working at a job, I'm not going to say the name, wherever I got fired. That was my first time even being fired. If he hadn't fired me, I don't think I would have met the people I did, because that's when I went into sales, which was the custom tailoring, which then got me into ADR, which then got me into the dream of being a model, doing all those things in TV and film. You know, I would have stayed in that office job for who knows how long, you know? So sometimes rejection is because... Exactly, because you're supposed to go in a different, that's better for you. But at the time, you're like, oh my God, my world has come to an end. I'm stupid. I'm dumb. I got fired.
That was my lick.
Oh my God.
That was my
Next time on Hawaii Entertainment News.
It's not a politically correct game, and we're all adults here.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so the game is like Monopoly. It's called Hustle and Sling. And the object of the game is you go up one side of the board and then you buy drugs. And then you come down the other side of the board and then you sell the drugs. Okay, so it's at first you're thinking like, damn, that's hardcore, man. Like what the heck? You know, but
it's somebody's reality though.
It is, yeah, it's the world's reality. I kind of call them like vigilante entrepreneurs, you know, because they're bringing financial literacy to their community, which, you know, people don't have.
Hawaii Entertainment News, where we will talk about all the news that's happening around the film and entertainment industry in Hawaii.
You're supposed to say, I told you so.
Enough. Are you okay?
Oh my gosh, he's Superman!
This is a video, which means we all have special skills.
Is that it?
I think so.